Emma and I have been following this case with you for quite some time, and we were able to listen to some of the justices and their line of questioning, and you can pinpoint where their mindset is through the questions that were asked or statements that were posed. But one in particular, Justice Sonia Sotomayor, making what many are calling controversial statements when it came to the issue. We'll play that for you and for our viewers. Here's that.
And the question of how many minors have to have their bodies irreparably harmed for unproven benefits is one that is best left.
I'm sorry, Counselor. Every medical treatment has a risk, even taking aspirin.
So those were quick, but again, it's outraging many, some calling for Sotomayor to be impeached over comments. You've seen this happen on social media. Obviously, there's a lot of outrage about talking about, again, minors being able to make these decisions, specifically operations that are life-altering, that you cannot walk back. Things that many point to tattoos you cannot get under the age of 18 and so many other regulated decisions. What do you make from what you've heard yesterday?
Well, I think that's consistent with a general idea that this is not a big deal. It's just a choice you make. You choose which gender you want to be, and there's this medical treatment that helps you get there. But the reality is there are serious risks. Obviously you could lose your fertility forever just from the drug treatments. You could lose your ability to have sexual function forever. You could have tumors and blood clots, bone density disorders, cognitive impairments. There are serious lifelong consequences that come out of this, but that hasn't been a big part of the conversation. And of course, part of the reason for that is this has largely happened very recently. We've seen the number of cases explode just in the last few years, and people are still coming to grips with exactly what's going on, which is why Tennessee's legislature looked at the evidence, carefully considered it, and a bipartisan supermajority voted to end these treatments for kids because the risks dramatically outweigh the benefits.
And of course, you have residents of Tennessee who are electing these officials, who are implementing these laws. So it really is going back to the people to let their voices be heard. Matthew Rice, the Tennessee Solicitor General, and Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson had an interesting exchange, appearing not to understand why there is a difference between giving testosterone to a boy who's deficient versus giving it to a young girl. Here's that sound.
In this case, the only way that they can point to a sex-based line is to equate fundamentally different medical treatments. Giving testosterone to a boy with a deficiency is not the same treatment as giving it to a girl who has psychological distress associated with her body. This is not only
what's your basis for saying that? I'm sorry. Is it just because of why they're asking for it, or is there some kind of medical? I took the SG to be saying that it operates on the body in the same way. So what's your basis for saying they're not the same?
Your reaction to that, sir, and just the line of questioning there.
Yeah, I mean, the idea sort of animating the push to make these drugs available is that you're just giving the same drug to kids. If testosterone's okay for boys, it's discriminatory not to give it to girls. But anytime you give a drug, you're not just giving a drug in a vacuum, you're giving it to treat a specific condition. If you cut someone's leg off because they have gangrene, that makes sense. If you cut their leg off because they stubbed their toe, that doesn't make sense. It's the exact same procedure, but very different in a different context. And here, the idea of giving these hormones that cause lifelong, serious medical complications to children is the same as treating a condition that, if untreated, would give them lifelong complications, is difficult to square. And that's been the heart of our argument against sex discrimination. Boys and girls have fundamentally different bodies. If you want to treat the same condition in a boy as in a girl, you're going to have to do something different, not because you're discriminating because of sex, but because they're two different sexes. It is a fundamental part of being human that you are male or female, and the medical profession has to recognize that, or we get into the world of absurdity.
Information. Truth is freedom. is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.